Today we're going to be covering chains and general chain maintenance. This chain here is looking pretty good. It's got a little bit of grime on there, a little bit of black. As you can see, it's built up there. So we'll start off with go ahead and just wiping off the chain. You want to generally be in your small ring in the middle of your cassette. And I'll just go ahead and grab around the chain and then pedal backwards. And then what I'm doing is I'm just pulling off any excess dirt and grime and old lubricant, and we can actually see all of the stuff that's accumulated on there that I'm pulling off. Go ahead and rotate to a new spot on the rag and continue going. And I'll usually do that a few times actually. You can never wipe off too much lubricant or too much grime, of course. You want to wipe off as much as possible. Once your chain's looking pretty good, got a nice silver color again, no more black. Go ahead and grab my lube, give it a little shake. And then with this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just drip that onto the top side of the chain. And we'll just pedal backwards. We're going to do that for a few rotations, making sure we get the whole chain. Don't need to douse the chain, but definitely want to get the whole thing. And then again, we're going to go ahead and wipe some more. Again, you cannot wipe off too much lubricant because you actually need the lube on the inside of the chain, not on the outside. So you can see how much stuff I'm pulling off again. So let's go ahead and continue to do that until ideally I'm not pulling off any more black. A nice gray color is always acceptable. And always switching over to a new spot on the rag to make sure I'm not just wiping around the same dirt and grime. So you can see now we're starting to get a little bit cleaner there. And then once you're looking pretty good, you're not pulling off as much black and dirt, you've got a nicely freshly lubed chain, and you're all done.
Now, quick segment on chain wear and
Oh.
how to test for excessive wear, and the importance of replacing chain before you start damaging the cassette with chain.
Yes, good call. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and go over chain wear and how to check that and make sure that your chain does not have excessive wear. What happens over time, since you're pedaling on the chain, it's actually trying to stretch this out. It'll stretch very slowly, all depending on how often you ride and where you're riding will depend on how much that stretches. What we offer here is we have a tool by Park Tool, which is a chain checker. And how that works is we go ahead and slip one edge into the chain, and we're going to go ahead and test this one here. If the 0.75 does not drop in, then that means that your chain is still good, still fresh. And then basically, if it does drop in though, that means your chain has gotten to a certain wear point that actually is starting to require replacement. Also on here, it offers a 1.0 side. If that is able to drop in then, after the 0.75, that can drop in, that means your chain and your cassette have worn so much that they're now mated together. If you put on a fresh chain on an old cassette that has been worn, the actual pins will no longer line up within the teeth of the grooves here. And what will happen is when you pedal hard on it, you'll actually jump the entire chain one full tooth, causing a very hard pedal on there, and can definitely rack your knee. Depending on how often you're riding, I recommend checking these every month or 2 months or so. If you're riding very frequently, don't be afraid to check them every couple weeks. Chains can last anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000 miles, all depending. If you're riding up in the hills, expect more towards the 1,500. If you're riding out in the flats a lot, definitely 3,000 or more. Kind of all depends.